So all of those risks flagged once again come into the inventory record to be viewed. So at any point in time, you can say, I want to look at Amazon and I want to look at the risks identified. I can look at the risks according to the categories to really understand where this risk is coming from. And those risks also go to a centralized risk register. So we can actually see how all of the risks come together. This is an individual risk within the risk register. Again, for me to follow that treatment life cycle, this is also customizable. But if you do choose to use OneTrust for other modules, such as our data mapping, any risks identified from those other modules will come together to the centralized risk register. So the next part is the monitoring and offboarding phase. So we have various sources for monitoring, and Athena, our intelligence, brings this all together to make it easier for us. One of them is the documents piece. So any attached supporting documentation, again, comes into the inventory record. So you don't have to look through multiple assessments, you can just review from the inventory. Similarly with the contracts. And if you take a look at one of our contracts, what we also have is contract attributes. So things that we can capture, details that we can capture about our contract. A key attribute here is the expiration date, because what we can do is actually be notified of that this contract expiration date is upcoming, and we can set tasks alongside that. So in this particular instance, this is the attributes are populated again either from the assessment or manually. No, it's not really a contract management system in the fact that there is no scanning of the actual documentation. And then in terms of reassessing our third parties periodically, what we can actually do is set up automation rules, so that this is being done periodically on our behalf by the configuration of one rule. So in this instance, we have a rule for the annual reassessment of our high-risk vendors. So I've set a condition being the risk level was high or very high, and that the last time a vendor was assessed was a year old. If that is the case, it will automatically send out this assessment, and I've chosen the assessment that I want it to send out. I can tell it to use the previous approvers or respondents, or I can configure new approvers or respondents. Also, for third parties that you may have a good relationship with, you may choose to copy the last assessment responses so they're not being fatigued with the amount of questions. So if you have a good relationship, all they would have to do is change the things that have changed for their organization, confirm that they've made those changes, and that should help you also get faster responses as well. So you can set up as many of these rules as you want to. Some organizations choose to do it according to risk level. This could also be done according to the type of vendor, the products and services they're providing. Or you could choose to start simple and just set an annual reassessment for all vendors. Any questions on this piece? So the next form of monitoring is integration. So as I touched upon, we have over 500 pre-built plugins, but we can integrate with anything with an open REST API framework. And this is an example of an integration with security scorecard for that type of cyber risk scoring. So in this particular instance, there is a trigger, and that looks at security scorecard. The vendors that we have, it looks at security scorecard periodically, so that may be weekly or daily, and it will get those security scores and put them in our inventory record. And if anything is flagged up, it will create a risk and